Hello everyone, Big Clingy here, and I'm very excited because yes, I think I've solved the grainy picture quality! Look at this, this should hopefully look so much clearer, and that's because I'm using the PS3 cable that came with the Elgato Game Capture HD. Turns out it's also compatible with PS2, and it effectively counts as a component cable, and it seems to be working a lot better than the component cable that I had before. Which I'm pretty sure boils down the issue to the component cable I was using. Admittedly, it definitely was a cheap third-party one, but it's still weird that it worked just fine with my old PS2 and not with the PS2 Slim. But that should be all in the past, because if I continue using this cable, then I should be getting pretty good quality. Well, as good as you can get for PS2 anyway. So yeah, welcome back to Persona 3 FES The Answer. And, oh yeah, so I did change my party and mess around with their equipment before I saved last time off camera, so I didn't have to get through as much before heading into the next area. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring Yukari, Junpei, and Ken forward, because the enemies in the next area don't have that much in the way of common weaknesses, so a pretty nice balanced party is going to be overall the best thing to have here. Though I might want to go in here, and I know that we are able to find some very good weapons in chests, so that's what's made me a little hesitant about buying new weapons from the shop, but I think Yukari needs a better bow, because what she currently has, she's one of the few party members who at the moment, has weapons with less than 200 power. Speaking of which, 300 power. Okay then, that's pretty cool. I could definitely use that. Huh. It's expensive, but I haven't actually sold my boss loot yet, so let's sell that infernal armor. Which I really think should be an actual type of armor and not just, Oh, I haven't actually sold this either. And I only have one opulent coin, unfortunately. Do not want to sell my precious eggs, though. That's a really bad idea. But let's get the Tobi Botaru. And it's also kind of funny. Final armor is definitely not the final armor for Aegis. And Oceana Scale. It's better than what Metis currently has, but I don't think it has any secondary effect on it. Hang on a second, I forgot to buy Yukari a bow, which was what I came in here for. I don't like the accuracy there, but I guess we'll have to do that. Lightning bow is a pretty cool name. So let's go ahead and, wow, that's an increase of almost 100. Actually, even more than 100, nice. So let's give you that. Let's go and give Yukari that bow. And now that I've done this, I'm almost positive that I'm going to end up finding better weapons when I explore this next area. Yeah, that's pretty good too. Kaiser armor, Mirage sandals. Yeah, I gave her the Mirage sandals. And she still has the lightning gloves, that's good. And I think I got a better spear for Ken, but I just want to quickly confirm that. Yes, I did, and he also has Kaiser armor. And I gave him back the prayer beads. I'll just save now that I bought a few more things from the shop, but then we'll be heading out into the second section of Judaica. Time for the second third of Judaica, and okay, this could come back to bite me, but I don't think I need to grind these three. They should be getting plenty of experience from the enemies here, and I'm perfectly capable of taking these enemies out even even with them still being at level 55. I mean, at least they're not level 50. That would mean they would get devastated. But here, I think they're going to be fine. Like I said, I hope that doesn't come back to bite me. Well, there's not really any more than there are on earlier floors, but I guess that makes things more dramatic. They are definitely a lot stronger, though. That is certainly the case, and I'll probably need to grind at least once more before the end, because the final boss is level 80, as I've said a few times. So we have here the Hakurou Musha and Angry Table. I think I'll scan you first, because Yukari is very likely to find the Angry Table's weakness by complete accident, because it's weak to wind, I'm pretty sure. As for what I want to use here, I'm gonna go for, I mean, Cert really needs the experience. I'm going to go ahead and switch to Cert for now. The Hakuro Musha is interesting because its name might relate to what it's weak to. And it's not that. Especially not when it misses everything. Nice one, Junpei. Junpei's still awesome, don't get me wrong. And yeah, that thing's weak to wind.
It has multiple weaknesses.
So, Hakuro Musha is weak to both light and dark, and doesn't really do much other than power charges, Tempest Slashes. Hakuro, I think, means white-black. So, it being weak to both light and dark is kind of fitting. As was demonstrated there. And this thing's demise will now be demonstrated because it's already on the ground. So, I'll try and scan that thing later, but a few things in this area are weak to wind, which makes Yukari pretty useful. And Ken has his, I still find it strange that Mitsuru having her summer outfit prevents her from using her new victory animation, because it looks so cool. I love her new victory animation, and I don't like not seeing it. Obviously. So, let's keep going. That was only the first enemy of likely very many. Oh, got the exclamation mark just before my shot hit, so no preemptive for me. But we've got here, Angry Table, Devious Maya, and Silver Dice. I want to scan the Silver Dice first, because for my practice runs, these are some of the most dangerous enemies on this floor. I'm switching to Thor right now, because they have Akasha Art, and Akasha Art is incredibly painful. So... not really sure if there's that much I can do at this point other than try and shoot the Devious Maya, I guess.
I'll show you my true power.
Well, at least one of them is going down. Nope, actually none of them are going down because that missed. Okay, let's see if Ken lucked out and hit a weakness here. Yes, he did. I had a feeling you were weak to electricity. And it's probably going to die before I can scan it now. We'll probably get more opportunities later.
It has multiple weaknesses.
Yeah, immune to everything physical, and oh boy, I forgot you're only weak to light and dark. That's kind of an issue, because I don't like your Akasha Arts, and you also have, well, at least that wasn't wind. You also have, Arrow Rain. So you've got a lot of powerful physical attacks, and being immune to everything physical means that we're forced to spend SP to damage you. Well, I'll take that over Akasha Arts, at least. It still hurts a lot, though. Yeah, what we're doing now is we are scanning you. I don't know if you're immune to light, but I'm gonna have to risk that because
He's not doing so well.
I'm just gonna go for... There are quite a few enemies here that I can only damage with magical skills, so I don't want to be spending too much of my SP. But I'm gonna go for this right now. Thank you for dying. I do not like those things at all.
The enemy is getting stronger.
You do not want to play dice games with those. They will screw you over badly. I've had practice runs where I got completely devastated by, Akasha Art spam. Akasha Art is a very dangerous skill, as you no doubt know from that Minotaur fight earlier in the answer. That was probably the boss that gave me the most trouble by far. I still don't think I found a particularly good strategy for that. Oh, that's a lot of SP, but I guess I'll have to do this. It'll save Yukari or Ken using their SP to heal. Speaking of Yukari, I'm thinking that, well, we had Mitsuru's flashback before. We know that, okay, might have to interrupt what I was saying, because we haven't actually seen the purple shadows here yet. This should be the Lost Giants. Whoa, that looks cool. I forgot how cool you looked.
You've surprised them.
Oh, that is awesome. That is really, really awesome. Like, yeah, that is insanely awesome. There's not much else that I have to say here. Now, these things, I believe, are weak to anything, and they repel and drain a lot of things. Or at least are immune to them. Yeah, I wish these things shut up in the journey. I'm like, I would have remembered an enemy that was this cool to shut up in the journey, so... Yeah, see, Null Slash, Drain Strike, Null, of course, like most of the purple shadows in the answer, it's immune to instant death, and it's also immune to wind. Its attacks don't look that, although level 67, yikes, that's pretty powerful. I feel like my best strategy here is Norn Spam, which sounds like a weird way to refer to that, but... No, I'm an idiot. Instead, I will use Cert. Even though Surt is considerably underleveled compared to them, Maragidine should be hitting fairly hard. You aren't immune to this after all. Yeah, that did pretty good damage. Uh-oh. I should be kind of worried here. I haven't really made a lot of progress, so if I wipe here, it's no real big deal. Junpei is kind of in a bad spot, though. He likes to hit things with physical attacks, and these things take physical attacks very, very well. At least Ken's hybridness, for lack of a better word, is helping here. Hello. Yeah, didn't expect that to do as much. Your power charge currently, and you have Blade of Fury and Vile Assault. Power charge Blade of Fury is going to hurt a lot. I don't think I have anything that resists or nulls Slash either, so this is going to be painful. I'm going to have to resign myself to the fact that several party members might be going down here. Well, at least one of the giants is gone. Uh-oh. Well, that's a power charge. Oh, no. Okay, good. At least Yukari went next. Yeah, I was still pretty confident I guess wasn't going to die here, but that was close. And I am so glad that she got healed afterwards. Yeah, Junpei really needs to upgrade to Archidine. Forget exactly when he gets that, I'll have to check his level up. Of course, the one that's going second is the one that's not going to die immediately. Oh, and I can't even rush because they're immune to everything physical. Of course, I guess was the one who dodged all of that. Well, immune to everything physical except Pierce. And Yukari saves the day, although that was not a lot of experience for how tough that fight was. However, it was enough experience to learn, I am Asgard's doom! I'm sorry, I have to say that now. And what should I get rid of? I don't need Endure Dark. Really don't need that. And, I thought you learned Fire Amp. I guess you don't. That's unfortunate.
Yes, my skill level has
and now everyone needs to be healed. I'm gonna use Yukari's SP for this, even though it's gonna be kind of expensive. Because I don't want Ken to blow out some of his, because I need him for light and light weaknesses. I was about to say light and dark. No, I do not need him for dark weaknesses, because he can't even do that. Anyway, we have here Power Castle.
Give me a second. I'll scan the target.
Gonna just switch to Thor for reasons. That end will mean that I start the next fight with Thor. I really don't like Deathbound. When the enemies use it. When I use it, Deathbound is amazing, but... Well, I mean, it's not as good as Vorpal Blade, but in the answer, Vorpal Blade isn't even that great anyway, because there's no great condition, but I digress. This thing uses fire, electricity, and Deathbound. It's weak to ice, so it's all Aegis when it comes to hitting this thing's weakness. I'm so glad that I didn't get rid of Bufu on Titania, because I realized only after the fact that I don't have any other personas that have ice. I need a good ice persona. In fact, I might be able to get one here, because... I know from practice that, oh wait, okay. I fused away Titania, sorry, forgot about that for a second, but I did pass down Bufula to Alice. So that's probably what I was thinking of. I do at least have something that has ice. Guess we have to see Alice now. But what I was gonna say is, I know for a fact Loki shows up in Shuffle Time here.
Here's a chance.
And even though I prefer to use Loki, I guess picking up Loki from Shuffle Time wouldn't be that bad. Power Castles aren't too dangerous unless you get unlucky with them using Deathbound, which has a very high crit rate. That's part of why I don't like it, because anyone who gets critted has to miss their next turn in this game. And I guess it's level 66 now. So definitely getting up there. And we're pretty low again. You know what, at this rate, I almost feel like it'd be better to just leave this floor from an exit point and heal that way. That's probably my best option, because I've only like, I've only been on one floor. It's not like I'm going to lose a lot of progress by leaving here early. That is, if this floor actually does have an exit point, because not all randomly generated floors do. I know those are the stairs. I'll only come back to you if there's no exit points. And don't worry, if I do take an exit point, I'll just cut back here.
There are 3 enemies. Be careful.
Hello there, enemies who want to get annihilated by Soldier. So nice of you to show up. Goodbye.
I need your help.
It's great when you have Samsara or Die For Me and you fight an entire group of enemies that are weak to it. Unfortunately, get used to it while you still can. Those skills got nerfed a lot in Persona 4 and 5. That was 3, I think? No, not even close. I was thinking that if I didn't get the experience, I'd get Decarabia, but did not get either of them. Really? Well, okay, the good news is there is an exit point, but the bad news is the really cool-looking but also dangerous giants are here. I might just run from you, because like many Purple Shadows in the answer, they're just too much effort to take out and not for much of an experience reward. It's kind of a shame. I wish they had made Purple Shadows more worth fighting in this mode, but a lot of them are just... They've got a lot of HP, no weaknesses, immune to instant death, and for how much effort you need to go through to kill them, they don't even give that much experience, so I prefer to just run for most of them. Like I said, I love it when an entire bunch of enemies who are weak to Samsara shows up. Especially when they're these things, because it is so cathartic as destroying them. I thought one would survive, though. However... Come on, Ken. You can finish it off. Because if this thing goes for Akasha Arch, Yukari and Ken are probably dead. Okay, Ken, you need to hit with this. A lot is riding on this. Come on. Good, okay. And now I can just grab this chest, get out, and I'll see you back here. Don't worry, I will finish that thought that I was talking about before the Purple Shadow showed up. Not even close again. Because it is a thought that I want... That's pathetic. It is a thought that I definitely want to go into. Hi there, enemy who suddenly appeared near the teleporter. I'm sure you weren't there last time I checked. You are something new, though, so I can at least scan you. Golden Beetle.
Give me a sec. I'll scan the target.
And I'm going to need to switch to Alice. The beetles, I believe, are weak to... I think they're weak to wind. But I'm going to buffalo this thing first.
Good choice. The enemy is down. Bad.
Also, I'm pretty sure there is a golden beetle type enemy in Persona Q, but it's very, very different to this. It's a giant gold version of the burning beetle, which is a massive shadow encounter in Q, and it's sort of a bonus boss that appears at the end of the first dungeon if you return there. Anyway, some fairly dangerous... Oh, actually, Vicious Strike is terrifying. I want to get rid of them before they can do that. Okay, good. Well, at least Yukari's weakness to that is covered, so I don't need to worry about her going down before she can use her wind skills, although you're probably going to, and by you I mean Yukari, no, she's actually using Garula on them. I thought she was going to use Mediarama, which, to be honest, I'd probably prefer at this point, because I could just use Norn to take out these things, but oh well, this is fine. Thank you, Yukari! I'm so glad you did that, because now I can just buffalo this and get an all-out attack in.
That's the way.
And let's finish them. So now we can safely leave this floor. And you know, I probably should save, because I've got a little bit of experience at least. I usually don't like saving mid-recording session, but... You get a lot, like, they are very, very generous with save slots in this game. Another pointless level up on Soldier. You get way more than you really need for the answer. The answer is not a particularly long mode, at least compared to the journey. I can understand them giving you that many save files for the journey. In fact, I'm so glad they did because of social links. But for the answer, they give you the exact same number of save slots the Journey has, and it's a totally separate set of slots than the Journey, so you have way more save slots than you could ever know what to do with in the answer. Oh yeah, by the way, in addition to being weak to wind, the tables are also weak to slash, so they're pretty easy to take down, as is this thing. Although, I'd much rather use electric skills on the Devious Maya, because as you can see, it has dodge slash and dodge strike, but not dodge elect, so yeah, that's the better option. It can life drain and spirit drain and has some annoying status skills in Meteor Armor. Its only offensive thing is Buffadine, so these things really aren't that big of a threat, and like I said, I prefer to use Zeo skills on them because they at least don't have the dodge skill for that. So, let's just take this thing out. Almost feel like I don't even need to scan the table. It uses both fire and ice attacks, I believe. Which kind of makes sense with its red and blue color scheme. Now, I did get the 7 experience card, finally, and someone else leveled up. Melchizedek, great, that's one step closer to the heart item, and also, Repel Dart. In fact, if I get this heart item before the boss of this area, that will be really good, because Ken could really use that there. Okay, 2 totally new enemies here, Fate Seeker and Carnal Snake. Yeah, the snake enemies just get more and more disturbing, don't they?
I'll scan the target.
The Fate Seeker, like all Seekers, is very instant death oriented, so Disoljoy is totally safe from that, as is Melchizedek at this point, because Melchizedek just learned Repel Dark. And Yukari is kinda useless here. Well, I mean, at least she can heal, so, I mean, in a lot of ways, Yukari is never totally useless. And, you just crit the thing that I was trying to scan. Oh well. And we know that thing is weak to Pierce. So, anytime we encounter it next, Aigis can just shoot it. Like most Seekers, it uses instant death attacks, as I was saying before. Let's just try and fight you. Should mention the boss is on floor 17, if my notes are correct. Okay, you are new. Green sigil. We've seen a red sigil, we've seen a blue sigil, now we've completed the, well, almost completed the Gen 1 rainbow. Almost, we just need a yellow sigil. I don't think there is a yellow sigil in this game. But we've completed the original Gen 1 Japanese rainbow.
It's weak against fire. Use Agi skills.
So weak to fire has electric skills. You'd think this thing would use wind, being the green sigil, but no, and also for some reason it has sexy dance. Maybe it's surrounding itself with the pages of smutty literature. Yes, I've been watching Critical Role lately. That episode was awesome. Anyway, these things should go down. They're nowhere near as tough as some of the earlier sigils were. And yeah, that should be then gone. So I think we've seen the majority of the enemies that can show up here. Junpei's new victory animation is definitely not the best of all of them. Okay, I really want that experience. I'm just going to take the experience card. I'm going to go for this because there are some good Persona cards you can get here. There's Loki, and the other 2 I don't want. Okay, at least it's a slow shuffle. This should be Loki. Yes! Loki did not Loki me. Yes, to Loki is actually a verb. Or the more common expression, Loki'd. That was from a silly interview with Tom Hiddleston that I don't think very many people have watched, but I found it funny. Actually, well, Ken's just leveling up, but let's interrupt your celebration there. I want to just check out what Loki starts with. At Pupil, Garodine and Buffadine is not bad, and Draining Wind base is pretty decent as well. And being strong against Dark without being weak to Light would normally be a good thing, but I've got Personas now that are immune to both, so I don't really need that. Still, starting off with 2 elements is kind of nice.
There are 2 enemies.
In fact, you know what? Let's show off Loki here. Yeah, if I had fused him myself, I probably would have put a growth skill on him. So I'm gonna have to actually use him in order, like in battle, in order to get him experience.
I need your
But I mean, there are a few opportunities I have to use him.
Good choice. The enemy is down.
Also, Loki might be my ticket to getting Odin, because usually the Norse personas are quite easy to fuse other Norse personas out of. I actually really like the way that's set up.
Great battle.
Surt, Thor, Odin, Loki, it's usually, like, it's pretty easy to get one of the others out of one of those four. Okay, good, one step closer to die for me. Of course, in this game, it's, I don't know, it's maybe a little harder to get die for me on Thanatos, because Thanatos isn't a special fusion anymore. This game, I don't know, I have that habit of referring to the Answer as a separate game sometimes. It kind of is really just a separate mini-game, and you know what, I'm just going to quickly go down. We've already seen a lot of the enemies here. So, if I get a floor that has an easy exit, I'll just take it. We spent way too much time on the first floor anyway. Like this. So, the thing that I was talking about that I got interrupted with... And, I can already tell you, Fuka, it's on floor 17. I am currently doing your job better than you. But anyway... We had Mitsuru's flashback at the end of the last area. And since I've already spoiled that Fuka does not have a flashback, I think you know what's coming.
Only one enemy. You've surprised it.
Yes, at the end of this area, we will be having Yukari's flashback. And so, I thought I would, if I ever run out of stuff to talk about in these areas,
That's it. The enemy is down.
I thought I would discuss Yukari in general and how I feel about her over the course of the journey, and how I feel the Answer ruins her. Unfortunately, I can't say the worst thing the Answer does to her yet, because that doesn't happen until almost the very end of it. It's just annoying like that, but suffice to say, Yukari does something very, very, very bad towards the end of the Answer that many people think invalidates all of her character development from the journey, and it's gotten to the point where people judge her entirely based on this one action. I do admit, I kinda see what they were going with Yukari in the Answer. It is heavily implied, even if you don't directly go for a social link, that Yukari had feelings for the protagonist in the journey. And, well, okay, I warned you about spoilers at the start of this. The protagonist died at the end of the journey. So, naturally, having someone that you, like, really love, dying is certainly going to affect you pretty badly. And I understand what they were going for there.
Here's our chance. Let's do
And that is something about the Answer that I will be talking about later, but I'm going to hold off my discussion until the last area, because that's more just general stuff regarding what I think the Answer represents. Because I think the entirety of the Answer is a metaphor, and I'm interested to get to discussing that. Because it's actually something that has been kind of close to me recently, because I've witnessed this kind of thing in real life lately. And I do feel like the Answer does express some of it pretty well. But again, that's going to be left a little bit mysterious what I'm talking about until I get to it, but Yukari very heavily tied into this theme. Grief can do strange things to people, and some people definitely do become a lot crueler if they're grieving for someone. They can lash out at others as a way to... People are not in their right mind when they're grieving, and everyone deals with it differently. I'm not saying that lashing out against others is the right way to handle it, it's definitely not, but some people definitely do that, and it is a thing that does happen quite often in real life. But for Yukari in particular to be the one that happened to, I do admit, it feels a little bit out of character, especially since her entire, well, most of her entire arc during the journey was about her coming to terms with her father's death. Not only that, but a big part of her during the journey as well was just how angry she was at her mother for handling grief over her father's death, in her opinion, badly. She really hated her mother for the fact that her mother just couldn't get over her husband's passing, and instead just kept throwing herself at other men and having a really unhealthy lifestyle, partly due to not having a healthy outlet for her grief. So the fact that Yukari herself succumbs to the very same thing that she hated her mother so much for, it does feel a little bit hypocritical, and that's one of the reasons that why I don't like the arc Yukari goes through during the answer.
There are 3 enemies. Be careful.
I'm mostly just rambling here. This isn't really scripted. I'm just getting a lot of my general thoughts on this out there. But I felt like Yukari, she definitely came off as a little bit cold and standoffish at first. More so for the male protagonist than for the female one. She actually opens up to the female protagonist,
It's weak.
it's Norntime here. She opens up a lot more to the female protagonist, and many people have praised her social link with the female protagonist for that reason. I personally still really like her social link with the male protagonist. It's actually one of my favorite social links in this game, and it's still my favorite romance option for the male protagonist, even though seeing the later parts of Aigis' social link during the playthrough did make me like the protagonist and Aigis pairing a little bit more. I've personally always been a bit less inclined to see the protagonist's relationship with Aigis as strictly romantic, though. It's more of a, sort of a... okay, it's hard to describe, but I said it earlier in this playthrough, it's a lot like a Master and a Blade in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's much more of a protector and protectorate kind of thing, in my opinion. But of course, there is definitely a hint of, not a hint, very, very obvious romantic implications in the way that Aigis, didn't get to scan you before, so I guess I'll, now, the way that Aigis sees the protagonist. But anyway, I am going somewhere with this. I do agree that Yukari does not come off as a good person in a lot of ways during the answer. She does learn from it, and that is the point. By the end of the answer, Yukari is meant to come across as a lot more matured, but it just goes against a lot of her development during the journey. Like, she already matured a lot during the journey, and the fact that she has to learn that again in the answer... And here's the Carnal Snake scan. Is pretty weird when, for example, Junpei in the answer keeps all of his character development for the journey. He's still the voice of reason that he ended the journey as. I still love Junpei's character development. He is one of my favorite RPG characters of all time, just because of how he goes from just the complete comic relief clown who no one takes seriously to one of the most level-headed and mature members of the party. Yukari is the exact opposite of level-headed and mature during the answer, and yeah, I can say that as much as I want, but it's kind of weird because I know that there's a lot of people in the fandom who really, really don't like Yukari. Like, there's many people who will offer these really huge arguments as to why Yukari is an objectively horrible person, and I can understand treating the answer Yukari that way, but I don't feel she's that way in the journey at all. I think that in the journey, I don't know, I've watched and rewatched her social link constantly, because it's kind of thing that I have to do when I'm a fan of a character that so many people hate. And I keep looking over her social link just to find reasons why. Oh, you're new actually. This is an enemy that I personally just like to run from, so I don't think I'll be staying in this fight very long, but I keep trying to find reasons why people hate Yukari so much, and I've never really found any solid reasons during her social link. I mean, she can be a bit abrasive at first, but she gets better throughout it, and the way she acts during that rank 5 scene, she was kind of just attacked by some creepy guys, so...
Be careful, fire isn't working.
It's kind of understandable she'd be like that. Anyway, this thing has no weaknesses, repels a lot of things, has Akasha arts, and has a ton of HP and is immune to instant death. I like to just run away from it, because I just don't think there's much of a reason to fight it. I've tried killing it once. It's pretty easy with Wind Amp Scarodine from Norn, but I don't really think it's all that worth it. It's not worth that much experience, and fighting it is just so much of a hassle. It's kind of a theme with the answer. I mean, I do actually like the answer from a gameplay standpoint for the most part, but anyway, back to Yukari. So, one of the reasons why I think maybe a lot of people don't like Yukari, and the main thing that I see talked about is a lot of people think that if you romance her, she gets very clingy and jealous. I've personally never really seen that, but here's the thing. I've never reversed Yukari before. And that's because in my first playthrough, I was following a max social links guide. A lot of people get horrified when they find out that I did that, but here's the thing. I don't like to play Persona games blind. When I play a Persona game, I play it to see all of the social links and just all of the interesting characters and all of the development they go through. Because of that, anytime that I play a Persona game, I go for a max social links run, and with Persona 3, doing that on the first playthrough without a guide is nearly impossible, so I used a guide for my first playthrough. Because I used a guide for my first playthrough, I have heard that a lot of people reverse Yukari while playing blind. Because I never did, I don't know how she acts when she is reversed, and I get the feeling that she acts very, very badly, which I wouldn't be surprised at. I feel like that's probably where her jealousness comes from, if you reverse her. And here's the thing, so I keep hearing a lot of people say that there's a lot of cultural values dissonance in Yukari's social link, and that it's incredibly easy for Westerners to reverse because it runs into issues of things like, big differences between, Japanese and Western culture, and I looked through her social link many, many times, and I felt like I never saw any of that, and I never really understood why people were saying that. And then I realized, I think I know where that comes from. It's from that point in rank 5, where... Oh wow, good thing you just stopped before impacting me, otherwise you would have got a preemptive.
Watch out.
But,
There are 4 enemies.
okay, so what I was saying is that moment where Yukari's just gone through a traumatic experience, and the option to hug her instantly reverses her social link. I can understand why a lot of people would find that weird, because in a lot of Western cultures, hugging people to comfort them, even if they're just friends and you're not romantically involved with them, is a pretty normal thing to do.
That's the way.
Get him!
And then in Japan, the thing you gotta realize is that hugging is seen as incredibly intimate in Japanese culture. To the point where it's almost akin to actually having sex with someone. So obviously, she's just been harassed by people who were heavily implied to be sexually harassing her, and hugging her right there from a Japanese standpoint would be a really bad thing to do. Like, really, really bad thing. And it's fully understandable that she would get very pissed off if you did that. So I can understand why some people would reverse her playing blind, and because of that, they would only see the worst side of her. So I get that. That's probably why she does come across badly to some people. And then they find out how she isn't the answer. But I still don't agree with the notion that Yukari was always a horrible person, and... Okay, here's the thing. Dislike Yukari all you want. I'm fine with people not liking Yukari. Everyone has characters they like and they don't like, and they're entitled to their own opinions, and that's all fine. But the point where it bothers me is that I've seen some people who are arguing that Yukari legitimately did not deserve a happy ending after the events of this game and Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. And that really bothered me. Just, like, I can get why people wouldn't like Yukari, but saying that she doesn't deserve happiness ever? I don't know, I just really, I don't know. It's just, that bugs me a lot. But anyway,
You're better than I thought.
like I said, this is mostly just rambling. I didn't really script any of this. This is a lot of my thoughts on Yukari. One more thing though, and I don't want to chalk all this up to die for our shit, because I do think there are definitely legitimate reasons to dislike Yukari as a character. She has a lot of flaws, and I can understand why these flaws would ruin a lot of people's chances of liking her.
Deadpoon defeated an enemy. Last one.
But I do feel like, because she does get shit with the protagonist a lot, and because there are some other pairings involving the protagonist that some people are very, very passionate about, feels like it's mostly Aigis, although, really, I don't see why Persona and Aigis shippers... Yes, the protagonist's name is Persona. Wow. I don't really see why protagonists and Aigis shippers have any reason to be angry or hate Yukari, because I feel like Aigis is just as close to a canon pairing as Yukari is, in a lot of ways. And even many of the... Actually, I would like Hellbiker. Like, I've heard... Again, I haven't actually seen the Persona 3 movies before, because I don't think they've ever been released legally in Australia. If they were, I really would watch them. But, yeah, I prefer to watch things legally, but that's another issue entirely. So I haven't seen any of the Persona 3 movies, but I've heard they downplay Yukari's affections for the protagonist a lot, and heavily play up the protagonist and Aiga's pairing. Which I guess I'm alright with, personally. Like, it does feel a little bit like pandering to protagonist and Aiga's fans, but I guess playing up Yukari's feelings would be pandering to protagonist and Yukari fans, because really, I don't see why there's much of a reason to hate Yukari for shipping reasons when there isn't an official set-in-stone canon pairing for this game. At all. Sure, Yukari gets a few moments during the story, but so does Aigus, and you can argue a few other people do as well. And you can pair the protagonist with anyone. In fact, you can pair them with everyone if you want. In fact, I personally think, like, part of the reason why I did the whole Gary Stu thing is that with the way that Aigus, Yukari, and Elizabeth are all heavily implied to... yeah, I thought this would be the save point floor.
This feeling. That figure doesn't feel quite like a normal human, but... well... No, I can't be positive. I'm sorry I can't be more specific.
She sounded very unenthused there, but oh well. Yeah, because Yukari, Aigus, and Elizabeth in later spin-offs all show evidence of having feelings for the protagonist, I personally like to think that the protagonist being a total player who seduced everyone is the canon outcome of this game. Because it really makes a lot of sense that way. But again, that's only my interpretation, and there really isn't any canon for the protagonist in this game, apart from, like, how they end the journey. And even then, like, the reasons why they did that, and all of that is also up to your interpretation. So, yeah, but I do feel like shipping always causes people to be mean to certain characters, and people who ship the protagonist with other people obviously have more excuses to hate Yukari, because of... while I'm talking about this, I might as well just see if I can fuse anything in the development room. And I'm just saying, they really shouldn't have reasons, because, like I said, it's fine to dislike her for actual character reasons, but for shipping reasons, you shouldn't feel threatened by her at all, because there's no set-in-stone canon. It's not like Chrom and Sumiya in Awakening, where the gameplay mechanics heavily lean towards Sumiya. Like, that's an undeniable fact. She wins any ties in supports. And there's a cutscene called Lovebirds featuring the two of them. She's in the opening movie holding Chrom's baby. I can fully understand why people feel the need to hate her if they ship Chrom with other people, because in some ways, she is legitimately in the way. But that's not the case with Yukari. If you ship the protagonist with someone else, there's really, yeah, like, no reason for Yukari to be involved with that at all. So, yeah, I'm sorry anyway, for that big rambling rant, but I wanted to get that all off of my chest. Like I said, I can't fully talk about the reasons why Yukari is so disliked in the answer yet, because the worst thing she does there hasn't happened yet, and it won't happen for a little while longer. I will certainly be talking about that then, but for now, those are my overall thoughts on Yukari and the answer. Overall, I personally like Yukari. I can see why a lot of people don't, but I don't think it's fair that many people judge her entirely based on her actions in the answer. Because in many ways, they contradict how she is in the journey, and I feel like people don't look at her character development during the journey enough. And that's all I'll say here. Next time, we'll be fighting a boss, and it's a boss that's fairly infamous. It's sometimes considered the hardest boss in the answer, so we'll see how that goes next time.